Did The Rock only come back because his career was in a slump? Does The Rock pee in bottles and then give it to PAs to take and flush down the toilet? And is he always late, costing $50 million to a movie production? And what about if he comes back and dethrones Cody Rhodes? Honestly, Cody, your story's done. You could be dethroned right now, and it would be a privilege if you were dethroned by the great one, The Rock. I am not kidding. This is not a kayfabe video. I believe everything I'm about to say. Going back to those first couple points, and then we'll talk about how The Rock can do whatever he pleases in the wrestling world. Going back to the beginning, his career was in a slump, so he came back to wrestling. And that's an issue because why? Let me tell you guys something. I'm an aspiring YouTube channel, right? I want to be a wrestling YouTube channel. I want to go full time, all that good stuff. If I knew there was a way to instantly become a success, I would do it. If they were to be like, oh, you have to enter a wrestling ring in order to become a successful wrestling YouTube channel, I would do it. If I had the opportunity, if I had the luxury and the means to do it, then I would just instantly do it. Why did he get involved in that angle? He only did it to make his YouTube channel a success. Yeah. So you're telling me The Rock, he's in a slump, and he sees an opportunity to get out of the slump. He doesn't bitch, he doesn't moan, he just does it. He takes action. He sees he's in a slump, he sees his numbers are down, and he knows a way to do it, so he puts in the hard work, and he goes and does it. He returns to wrestling, a sport that he actually loves, and he did not just return to wrestling. We're going to talk more about this later, but he didn't just like cash it in, phone it in. The dude wrestled a 44-minute tag team match, and he was like an equal participant. He didn't just jump in for the last 5 moves of doom, right? No, he was like in it from the get and all the weeks leading up. The Rock was an active participant, and he showed that he loved the business, and we'll get more into that, but again, even if he only returned, even if the main reason for his return was to get his career back on track, so what? Brilliant. Great move. Your career is going to be back on track now. Smart man. That's a smart guy. I don't see a problem with that. Who cares why he returned? Who cares why he returned? He returned. It was awesome. It got his career back on track. It put a bunch of people over. I see no losses in this situation. Only win, 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 win on top of win. Okay, so now let's get to the pee in jars thing. Admittedly, a little like, you think about it, it makes you stop for a second. But then again, let's be honest, folks, is it really that bad? You're like, uh-oh, this video's taking a weird turn. No, for real. Maybe, how do I say this? You Hollywood elite, you Hollywood snowflakes, maybe you're just not used to the commoners. We're commoners. The Rock and me, honestly, I relate to him more now. We might have started off in the same tax bracket where we have a mentality of we just got to get things done. And it's not that big of a deal, guys. If I'm on a road trip, right, and I have to make it to, let's just say, Dallas in 4 hours, and I am 10 minutes behind, I'm not going to stop at the gas station. I really gotta pee, right? But I'm not stopping at that gas station. I'm not stopping at that restaurant. It's going to take me 10 minutes to pull off the side of the road and go in there and then get back out. That's another 10, another 20 minutes. To have to go pee, that's wasting 30 minutes, and I'm already running 10 minutes behind. I got to get to Dallas. Is it that big of a deal? Hand me the Gatorade bottle. I'm just going to pee in it. Now, I'm not saying that The Rock should take out the people strudel and just go willy-nilly everywhere. No. Go behind a building where no eyes are watching. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. Like, hell, take that and put it on eBay. You can't put it on eBay because, like, bodily fluids and hair, I don't think you can sell it. But that would be gross. But for the most part, like, really, it's not that big of a deal. Like, is it? Put it in the comments below. Like, I have done that. I have peed in a bottle before because I was in a hurry. Is that, like, crazy? Or, I mean, The Rock's like, we grew up in a different generation. We just did. Me and The Rock are kind of the same age, And he's a little more successful than me, but, like, he remembers his roots. Props. Props again, Rock, for remembering your roots of being a common man. Moving on, if you want to disagree with that one, feel free to, but, like, isn't that big of a deal? The tardiness, okay, honestly, actually, this is the one where I'm like, yeah, Rock, maybe you should show up on time. But then again, then again, you kind of, like, I'm assuming The Rock, let's say The Rock is always late, right? He's always late. Oh my gosh, The Rock is always late. Well, you kind of knew that when you hired the guy. Like, for real, you kind of knew that when you hired the guy. So I have a day job, and my boss, who I absolutely love, my boss is always late. She just is. She's just always late. So when she tells me to set up an interview with somebody at 10 a.m., guess what I do? I hope she's not watching, but I set up the interview for 11 a.m. And guess what then? She's still half an hour late. So, like, I just factor around it. I know that she's going to be late. I'm just going to factor around it. And you know going in that The Rock is going to be late. The Rock has so much crap going on in his life. He sells hair products. The guy is bald, all right? When WrestleMania 40 was over, guess what he did? He flew to some kind of big event for Moana, the live action movie. The dude is always doing something. You know he's going to be late. So if that's a problem for you, that's your fault for hiring him. Hire somebody who's very punctual. For real. Like, don't hire, if you know what is happening going in, then don't hire him. That's on you, not The Rock. I mean, okay, it is still on The Rock, and The Rock, for real, do try to show up on time. It's just a pet peeve. And he did it at the WrestleMania press conference, I think. He did something at the WrestleMania, and that I would be like, Rock, you should show up on time for that stuff. But again, if you're a movie exec, you know he's going to be late, so you can't bitch about it. That's on you. That's on you. Am I just a Rock apologist? Damn right I'm a Rock apologist, and he deserves it. He flat out deserves it. Do you know how many people he put over in this business? I'm not even talking WrestleMania 40. I'm talking forever. The Hollies, Hardcore Holly and his cousin. He put those guys over with the Rock and Sock connection. Crash Holly, Hardcore Holly, he put them over. He put Hurricane Helms over. Who's putting Hurricane Helms over? Nobody is doing that except for The Rock. The Rock has always been unselfish. The Rock has always cared about people. This time round, he comes in to WrestleMania 40, right? And he's gonna take the spotlight, right? The Cody Crybabies, all that. The Rock doesn't deserve it. And guess what? In the beginning, I was also like, no, I don't want The Rock and Roman. I want Cody and Roman. I want to see that. But guess what? The Rock instantly, it was not a struggle to pivot. The Rock instantly, after one episode of SmackDown, when they had their nose to nose, The Rock and Roman, after one episode and 2 days of social media, 3 days of social media, they changed it completely. Do you think that anybody had more power than The Rock to say, Rock, we're changing it, you're a bad guy now? No, The Rock heard the people and he pivoted. He saw the opportunity. I don't think it was a bad thing for The Rock to come in and say, you know what, this will be a better, bigger main event, me versus Roman, because on paper, yeah, that makes a total lot of sense. Us wrestling fans, guilty. We're a different kind of breed though, and so we wanted Cody versus Roman, and The Rock gave that to us. He stepped aside because he didn't have to. The Rock has paid his dues. He did so much, does so much for the business that he could have just kept it and we would have accepted it. And guess what? I could have hated that main event all day long, but I still would have watched it because history shows that I would have, and so would have many other wrestling fans, because when Brock and Roman were fighting and I hated that, I watched it. When Roman and Triple H were fighting in the main event, I hated that and I watched it. So I would have watched it regardless. And they would have made a ton of money regardless. But The Rock, he stepped aside. And he didn't even step aside. He got involved. He got even more involved. And in the process, he put over Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. When Roman and The Rock went to the Tonight Show, guess where Roman sat? He sat in the main seat, right? He sat in the main seat. And The Rock stayed there. He gave him the rub. He gave him the Hollywood rub, but he allowed Roman to be the star of that Tonight Show interview. And when it was all said and done, and this was the most successful WrestleMania of all time, guess what he did? He went on social media and was like, Seth Rollins, you're the MVP. Oh, but he came just to get his career back on track. Give me a freaking break. Give me a freaking break. And the whole Cody thing. Do you not think Cody is more elevated as a champion after getting beaten and bloodied by The Rock's belt? Yeah. Okay, so for whatever reason The Rock came back, they need to be glad. Every single one of them needs to be glad, just like we all need to be glad. And we know The Rock's coming back. So a bunch of new fans might have got involved, and now they're just waiting and waiting and waiting for The Rock to come back. And while they're waiting, they're falling in love with what's happening. They're falling in love with Drew McIntyre, with Jey Uso, with CM Punk, with Cody Rhodes, and everybody. The Rock has reignited so much stuff because his career was failing. Good. But he tried to take over the DC universe. So, again, I say, so, if I even had a 0.0000001% chance of seeing myself fight Superman, I would take it. I don't care what I had to do in order to do it, because guess what? That DC cinematic universe, it sucked. It flat out sucked, and The Rock had a track record of good ideas, so I don't blame The Rock for saying, maybe I should take a crack at it. His crack at it, it didn't work out. But I'm just glad that he's not a man who's not afraid to fail. If you are afraid to fail, you will never succeed. I did not like he looked the part, but I wasn't like in love with his Black Adam. But okay, so what? I wasn't in love with his Black Adam, so what? He tried. And it wasn't like the DC universe was doing anything anyways. Good for him for trying. I'm glad he got to try. You don't want to live your life not trying. You don't want to live your life with regrets. I don't want to live my life thinking, oh man, maybe I should have maybe spoke up. I could have fought Superman. Nah, I would have done the same thing. The Rock is the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, and I'm glad he came back. And I'm being for real. I can tell I am a little upset. The Rock has done so much for us. He put over Hurricane Helms. This was an awesome WrestleMania. He gave that to us. He participated in it. He could have done so much more. He could have not listened to the fans. The guy has his finger on the pulse. All right? He pees in a bottle to save sometimes. So did I. I've done it. It's not a big deal. We all pee. Everybody poops, just like the book says. The children's book, everybody poops, everybody pees. Make a sequel. Somebody do that. Please. Rock, I acknowledge you. Just like I hope you acknowledge the subscribe button. What do you guys think of this video? Like, do you think I'm a little, went too far? No joke, I would not have been this passionate about The Rock pre-day one, but for real, this run with The Rock has really reminded me why The Rock deserves our respect and everything. And you know what? One more thing before I close out. He also did a segment with Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal, right? Of all the people, he gets a segment with Jinder Mahal, and he runs with it. He made Jinder look so good. So awesome. I love that Jinder got one last good moment with just that spotlight on him. And, oh man, The Rock is awesome. And we cannot forget that, okay? We cannot be like, well, what have you done for me lately with The Rock? All right? He's done so much for us. We got to give back. We're wrestling fans, all right? We got to give back to The Rock just like he gives to us. Rock, I acknowledge you, and I appreciate everything you've done for us. Please subscribe to this channel, and yeah, have a great day.